Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing the starting 11 show for Everton versus Wolves, the massive six-pointer at Goodison Park on Wednesday night. So let's get straight into it. Obviously, everyone knows this is the show where I predict what Dyche is going to start with, and we're going to predict his starting 11 for the Wolves game. Starting in goal, no complaints here, Jordan Pickford. He'll be looking to right the wrongs of Sunday. I think he didn't do too much wrong in Sunday's game. Obviously, one skewing off Jared Branthwaite, and then three pretty much tap ins for Manchester United that they couldn't miss. So Pickford didn't do too much wrong, but he'll want to reinstate that decent run that he was on of clean sheets. And I think it was three clean sheets for the month of November. So he'll want to reinstate that run and maybe put together a clean sheet for tomorrow's game. But definitely Pickford in goal. I think Dyche is pretty set on Jordan Pickford, and he will be for his entire tenure here. But moving into the defence, this is where it gets a little bit contentious. I think I would have said Mikalenko, but I think he's looked leggy. I think Mikalenko's been on a very poor run of form, so I think Ashley Young will start at left back, and I'll get into my reason why in a minute. Ashley Young was okay on Sunday. Obviously, he's 39 now, and we know he's 39. He's getting on. He hasn't got that yard of pace that he used to have, but he is quietly going about his business. I've said this multiple times. He's quietly going about his business as our best fullback this season. So I'd look to start Young at left back and give Mikalenko a little bit of a break from the team due to the poor run that he's on. Then moving into the two centre halves, I think Branthwaite and Tarkowski will keep their place. Listen, they were both very poor on Sunday. They both, had their respective individual errors, both leading to goals. Branthwaite, especially, I think that was probably one of his worst games since returning from PSV on his loan spell. That's, listen, Jared Branthwaite is a top player. He's got top potential. We know what kind of player he is. So he's allowed an off day, but it's worth pointing out that I think both of them were poor on Sunday, and they did look to throw the towel in quite early on in that second half. So I think, I'm hoping they can get back to their best. They usually are best players, them two, especially Jared Branthwaite. They usually are most solid on the pitch. So hopefully they can get back to their best. And obviously we need to utilise them as much as we can in this massive 6-pointer against Wolves. But moving into right back, I think Nathan Patterson will be given the nod. I think his cameo at Old Trafford says to me that he might be given a little bit of a run in the team now. He created a very good chance for Dominic Calvert-Lewin late on in that game, which Dominic Calvert-Lewin headed it straight at the goalkeeper. So I think Patterson can offer us something going forward. We know what kind of player he is. He's a more attacking fullback than say a Seamus Coleman, like a stopper, or a Vitaly Mikalenko, for example. Patterson does offer a little bit more going forward. Whether it's quality in terms of chance creation, I'm not so sure, but he definitely does offer us crosses into the box. So I think Patterson will be given the nod against Wolves tomorrow night. And then moving into midfield, I think Dyche will probably look to use Orel Mangala and Idrissa Gana Gueye as the two midfielders. I think Decore, I think he looked very, very poor on Sunday against Manchester United. He looked like a rabbit in the headlights on the ball, in my opinion. We need to win the midfield battle against Wolves. It's the game is won and lost. These kind of games are won and lost in the midfield. So I think Orel Mangala is going to come in for Abdoulaye Decore just for a little bit more solidity on the ball. Obviously, he's a little bit more progressive in his passes going forward. If Mangala gets the ball into her feet, he's more likely to take it in his stride and run forward with the ball at the opposition defence rather than Decore. So I think obviously Orel Mangala will be the first midfielder, and then Idrissa Gana Gueye. I think he had a poor game on Sunday. You could probably count every single player as having a poor game against Manchester United on Sunday, but I think Idrissa Gana Gueye, you expect one of your senior players to maybe pull forward and pull rank and get the team playing together, but I think he was poor on Sunday, so hoping he can have a better performance. And obviously, as I said before, the midfield battle is going to be massive against Wolves on Wednesday night. So fingers crossed we can win it. And then moving into the attacking midfield role, obviously we've seen Dwight McNeil there for a number of weeks now. This experiment has to be over for me. I think Dyche will probably look to use Iliman and Jai in the number 10. Obviously, there's been various quotes in recent weeks with Dyche saying there's no evidence to suggest that Iliman and Jai is a number 10. I think Dyche will maybe bite the bullet and go with Iliman and Jai in the 10 role. Obviously, I think we need just chance creation. It's going to be a very cagey game. I think it's going to be quite tight against Wolves. So any little spark that we can get, having Njai, not ostracised out to the left wing, having him in at the centre of the play and playing him in the number 10, I think will bear fruits for us. So I'm hoping that Dyche does this, and I do think Dyche will opt for Iliman and Jai in the number 10. And then moving into the front three, I think purely for rotation reasons on the right hand side, Jack Harrison will come into the side. Obviously, we've got 3 games in 6 days now, so you need to utilise the squad as best you can. I'd rather have Lindstrom playing against Liverpool, for example. I think he can probably hurt them more than Jack Harrison can. Lindstrom did look a little bit leggy at times against Manchester United at Old Trafford. So I do think Jack Harrison will be used by Sean Dyche, and I think that's purely just for rotation reasons. And obviously, as I said before, 3 games in 6 days, you have to utilise the squad, you have to utilise the players. We know this Christmas, December fixture list is always tough on squads, and especially Everton. In the last few years, we've had really, threadbare squads. So I think we just need to utilise the squad here, and Jack Harrison will come into the team. Then moving to the left hand side, obviously I talked about him in playing the number 10 in recent weeks. I do think Dwight McNeil will move back out to the left hand side, and Dyche will put him back out wide. I'm hoping he can affect the game from there. Obviously, some of his best moments in an Everton shirt have been from the left hand side. You look at performances against Brighton in that 5-1, for example, that was off the left hand side. So there's definitely a player in there with Dwight McNeil, but just can he, affect a game from the left hand side, and maybe utilize his partnership with Iliman and Jai, maybe them interchanging a little bit. Hopefully, Dyche can give them that instruction and maybe cause Wolves a little bit of a headache in terms of chance creation. But I do think Dwight McNeil will be moved back out to the left hand side, and then moving to the striker, obviously the biggest talking point probably from the Manchester United starting 11 news was Beto starting over Dominic Calvert-Lewin at Old Trafford. Obviously the news has broke today that Armando Broja is now fully fit and available for selection. So I do think Dyche will opt to use Armando Broja. Obviously that was confirmed by Bobble earlier this afternoon. I think this is the game to start him in personally. You can't start him against Liverpool, for example. You can't chuck him in at the deep end and give him his first start in an Everton shirt against Liverpool. I think the Wolves game on Wednesday night is the perfect opportunity to do that. I think if you're looking at opportunities in the next few weeks to give Broja minutes, and especially minutes from the start where he can affect a game effectively, I think the Wolves game is the perfect example to do that, because obviously we all know the run that's coming up after the Wolves game. You've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, and then even Nottingham Forest after Christmas, in between Christmas and New Year. I think even that's a tough game on paper these days. So I do think Broja's time to shine and the perfect opportunity to start him in a game is against Wolves on Wednesday night. So I do think Dyche will look to use that. And obviously, it's coming at a good time because Beto, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they're not scoring goals. Then they're not affecting games as they would want to. So I think this is coming at the perfect time now, and I think Broja will be given the start by Sean Dyche on Wednesday night against Wolves. But that is all for the starting 11. I'll just run through it one more time. So it's Jordan Pickford in goal, Ashley Young at left back, Branthwaite, Tarkowski, and then Nathan Patterson on the right hand side of defence. Orel Mangala, Idrissa Gana Gueye as your 2 midfielders, with Iliman and Jai as the number 10. Jack Harrison off the right, Dwight McNeil off the left, and then Armando Broja given his first start in an Everton shirt against Wolves on Wednesday night. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this starting 11. Do you think Dyche is going to opt for something else? Obviously, we know it's going to be a tough game, and we know it's going to be a cagey affair, but fingers crossed we can come through it with 3 points and just try and catapult ourselves up this league table. But that is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.